Hey animal enthusiasts and pet hobbyists, it's Joel here, and today we're going to be going over the internal and external anatomy of the fish. Let's get into it. The fish we're going to be dissecting is the yellow perch, Perca flavescens. This is in class Osteichthys and subclass Actinoptergii. When looking at the external anatomy, we can see that the body has fins consisting of a thin membrane of skin that's supported by bony fin rays. Some of these fin rays are soft, which is called lepidotrichia, such as on the posterior dorsal fin. Others are spines, such as the anterior dorsal fin, which is called actinoptergii. Then there's the anal fin, and the pectoral and pelvic fins, which are paired. And lastly, there's the caudal fin, also known as the tail. This fin is homocercal, meaning that the upper and lower lobes are about equal in size. You can also notice the lateral line, which is a sensory system on the side of the body that consists of microscopic sense organs in a tube that extends through the long row of scales back to the tail. There are pores in the tube that convey stimuli from changes in the water pressure to the sense organs. When you remove a scale, you can see that it has tiny tooth-like projections on the posterior end. This makes it a ctenoid scale. Similar scales that don't have the projections are called cycloid scales, which many other Actinoptergii have. Along with these scales is a thin layer of skin that secretes mucus, which promotes the smooth flow of water over the body. The head of the perch extends from the tip of the snout to the posterior edge of the operculum. This is also known as the gill cover. When you remove the operculum, you will find 4 gill arches. On the gill arch, there are gill rakers in the inner edge, which keep prey inside. And then there are gill filaments on their outer edge, which have tiny lamellae. This is where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange takes place. When I opened the abdominal cavity of the perch, the first thing I was greeted with was a very large female ovary. This was crowding most of the other organs, but you could also see the liver and the pyloric ceca. Above the ovary, which was unfortunately broken in my specimen, is usually the gas bladder. This is a hydrostatic organ that provides neutral buoyancy to the fish so that it can swim in a balanced way and hover in the water without using a lot of energy. Here you can see that the wall is very thin and translucent. Above the gas bladder are the kidneys, which are grayish or blackish in coloration and are a band of tissue that runs along the vertebral column. Upon removing the liver, you will find the stomach. This is connected to the mouth through the esophagus. On the right ventral side, you will find the spleen. On the left side of the stomach is the pyloric portion, which connects to the first part of the intestine called the duodenum. Here, a pyloric sphincter controls the opening from the stomach into the duodenum. The pancreas is very difficult to see, but is generally a very slender strand of white tissue that's on the loop of the duodenum. The intestine eventually leads to the anus. Most of this digestive tract lining is formed from the endoderm. When it comes to the perch's circulatory system, we can look at the pericardial cavity. Here you will find the heart, which is considered to be a 2-chambered heart, consisting of an atrium and a ventricle. During the dissection, most of the major blood vessels and arteries were lost, so I created this diagram that represents a similar circulatory system. The afferent branchial arteries branch off from the ventral aorta and connect with the efferent branchial arteries on the gill arches. This is where exchange of the respiratory gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide take place. The 4 efferent branchial arteries exit the top of the gill arches and move towards the roots of the dorsal aorta. This is near the skull. The dorsal aorta can be seen directly under the vertebral column. This is the typical flow of the circulatory system, with the oxygenated blood being in the red arteries and the deoxygenated blood being in the blue veins. So yeah guys, that's primarily the major components of the internal and external anatomy of the fish. If you're interested about learning about the skeletal elements, I also have a video about that will be posted in the description. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.